Okay, I worked on this a little bit off camera because I didn't want to be distracted. I had trouble with this area here. There was a crack in it, if you remember. So I got under it finally after many strikes in different directions to remove some flakes to set up that one final flake here. I just took that off like a few minutes ago. And it ended up in a little bit of a step right there, but I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to try to fix it. I lost a little bit off the length, thinning out that tip. That was the hardest part of the whole thing. It's 9 7/8. I lost 1/8 of an inch off the tip, thinning it down. It's very tough up here near the tip, and I had a bunch of crunchy stuff here. Yeah, it was on this side right there, but I managed to pop out some flakes, and this was lucky here. That was a lucky flake. It's a little bit too deep, but I'm just going to leave it. I could do some more thinning. I mean, I could take another flake here, and there's some stuff in the middle. Like there's a step there that I would prefer not to have there, but I would have to send a flake across the middle here. And there's another step right there. So there's two step fractures that I would like to get rid of, but I'm just going to leave it. I straightened out the edge in certain spots, especially down here. There was a lump right here. So I shot 3 flakes, major ones, into this area. I think that was one that I just shot not long ago. Yeah, it's not ground down at all. So what I'm going to do is I'll finish this by pressure flaking it. The last hit that I did was right there, and it didn't go anywhere. It was supposed to take out this mass here, but I said no. If that's not going to do it with a very hard hit, it's not going to do it here either. There was a nice ridge there, but it moved over to here with that strike. But it didn't travel, so I'm not going to risk trying to hit it again. I'm just going to leave it. And I got rid of the metal marks that were up here. That was one of my main concerns. I didn't want any metal marks up here. And it looks like I got rid of most of the quartzite stuff that was up on this side. So yeah, I had to trim it to get the symmetry correct, and there's still a little bit of issues with the bumpiness, but I'm going to take that out with pressure right now. I'll get the pressure flaking on film because this is just to finish up. I think I said in the previous video that I was going to finish it up on video, so I turned the camera on and here we go. Yeah, I think it's over 100 degrees in the shop, so that also is kind of a distraction. I didn't want to film it. Let's see. All right. I didn't want to film the cleanup and the damage control. All right. So I'm just going to pressure flake what's left. I think I said that already. Yeah. So here we go. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Sometimes I have it in my brain what I'm going to talk about. But this morning, I was just zoned out. In the zone. Oh yeah, I finished this blade that I showed yesterday, right? I did show it. It was a lot fatter, thicker, and wider. So I finished this one out. This will be available tomorrow in the auction. If you follow the channel, you already know there's an auction every Monday. If you don't, now you know. I offer these things for sale. You just bid in the comment section, and I have announced the winners Monday night 9 p.m. The auction does not start until Monday. All right, sometime around noon. A lot of times I'm late, so it may be, it's noon Eastern time, so I may be late again tomorrow. It depends. I try not to rush it, because one time I rushed the auction and just tried to get it exactly on time one day, and I end up dropping some of my items. So I said, no, I'm not gonna rush it, even though it's probably not professional to be late after I announce that I'm gonna open the auction at 12 noon, but sometimes I'm late. Yep. Oh well. But anyway, it closes at 9 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you get your bids in before that, which is 8 p.m. Central. I'm in Central time right now, right? So I got to remember the time zones. Depending on your time zone, it's 7 Mountain Time. That's the end of the auction. 6 Pacific Time. And when the auction closes, I announce the winners, whoever's got the highest bid. That's how it works. Bid in the comment section. But I have not posted the video yet, so don't go looking for it. There's always a guy that goes, what? What did he say? Do I look for it now? Am I too late? No, it's not till tomorrow. You're not late. Sometimes they ask in the comment section of the auction video, how do I bid? Or when is the auction? It's like, dude, you're in the comment section of the auction video. Just look around a little bit. See what happened. Look at the time on the bids. You missed it. Try next week. I have one every week. Yep, that's to satisfy the people who kept asking me for many years, do you sell your stuff? Do you sell your stuff? Well, now I do. And this will be available as well. It's going to be a little bit rough, right? It's not perfectly refined. Well, it's not as refined as this blade. See how I picked this edge really persnickety? I'm not going to pick this edge like that. It's going to be straight, but it's not going to be finely flaked. See, this has got little bitty flakes and very fine pressure work. You can't really see it because it's combined with random flaking. Also, there was a little void in the stone right here, so see how it kind of looks like it got messed up there? That's because there's a void in the stone. Yeah, but other than that, I like this stuff. This is a heat treat and this is raw. If I heat treat this big blade, it starts to look like this. The colors become more rich and dark and just better when you heat treat it. All right, but it also snaps completely in half more easily if I heat treat. Yeah, so with these large blades, it's safer if I just leave them raw, even though it's much harder to knap. Okay, if you it's harder in terms of the hardness of the stone. It's harder to knap a heat treat in a way because it will snap in half. It's hard to keep it in one piece. You have different challenges depending on what you do with the stone, I guess I should say. All right, I'm just going to get rid of the dull spots. I'm not worried too much about making it really pretty around the edges. It'll be jaggedy, but it'll be sharp. As best I can I'm just picking off dull spots. How do I know where the dull spots are? You can kind of tell because the edge looks rounded. I don't know if you can see it on video, but the edge on the dull spots, it doesn't look like this where it's thin. It looks rounded over. So just pick on those spots. And the powdery areas are dull too. Sometimes I just can't get the pressure flaker in there. And it doesn't do any good. What am I doing here? Yeah, I'm trying to sharpen that one spot right there and it's not working. Let me see. One of the tricks is to sharpen the pressure flaker. Yeah, it's a trick. No, it's just, I should have sharpened it earlier. I just try to make do with what I got. And I end up making doo-doo with what I got. Steel nails on my pressure flakers. I can use copper, but it wears out really fast. Copper is king, so if you want to use the best material, you can pretty much count on copper to be excellent. But I use steel because of the lack of maintenance. Even the little bit of maintenance that I need to do with steel, it still drives me nuts. Yeah. Okay, so I need to look at the symmetry a little bit. Yeah, I need to take back that edge right here. So I want nice curve, and nice symmetry, nice smoothness. Smooth with a D, like my mom would say. It's nice and smooth. She had an accent. Spanish accent. Couldn't say TH very well. She's not the Spain Spanish. Mexican Spanish doesn't have THs like that. Spain Spanish has a lot of TH sounds. Okay. I can always tell when it's a Spain Spanish because of sounds like they have a lisp. Yeah. If you're used to Mexican Spanish. All right. Here we go. This is working better with a sharper tip. Although it can dig in and start to mess with your symmetry because it works a little bit too good. Yeah, I had a lot of trouble with this area yesterday and this morning trying to get this thin down. There's still a little bit of quartzite right here, or what feels like quartzite. Sharpening is one of those things that's kind of persnickety. Come on. I don't want to grind it too much because then it gets too dull. That's thin enough, yeah. I don't want to mess with that tip too much more. I messed with it a lot earlier. There we go. Even the tippity tip is nice and sharp. It's not symmetrical because there's still a lot of mass under here. But I would have to take flakes off in this direction, and I don't trust this. See, I got a step right there. I don't trust this being nappable. Although I did clear off some of the trash earlier that was there. Trashy looking surface. Let's see if I can pick out that, or pick at that one step there. See if I can make it better. This is part of the finishing stage. Pick at the step fractures. Alright. Get that little one off the top, and then go for the one underneath. Yes. Beauty. I'm not going to mess with that. Okay. Here's one right here. It's got to be nice and clean with no metal marks. Oh, come on. And sharpening the spatula tool is vital to get in there with these little ones. That's too strong. You start to pick at it too much and you get these little metal marks. One more try down here. There we go. And step after step after step. Can I get that one out? It's raw stuff. It's hard with the raw to get them all out. Okay. How about this one? Ouch, I just bumped my knuckle on that. Got to be careful. Alright. I picked at it earlier. This is a little unfortunate there, but you should have seen it before. There was a crack. Just watch the other video. There was a crack right through here. And this is the best I could do. I got under it right there. And luckily that step here, this step fracture right across here is not too bad. I can live with it. Yeah. I had to really power a flake into that area to get under that crack. And luckily, it looks kind of symmetrical. And the edge got straightened out. Yeah. Luckily. Sometimes you depend on a little bit of luck. So it's mostly downward. There is some inward pressure, but not much. Well, I can't say that. Sometimes there's a lot of inward pressure if it's a thick spot. But for the most part, just thinning and sharpening the edge only requires a little bit of pressure inward. Yeah, I knocked out a step fracture here, so it's a little bit uneven on the edge. I knocked that out earlier. I'll just leave it. I won't mess with it too much. But look how, see how jagged it looks? I can clean it up a little bit. Too much of this downward stuff kind of dulls the edge again. But to make it look symmetrical, you got to do it. It's a trade-off. It's really hard to do it and thin it at the same time. You know, make it all nice and straight and do the thinning so it's really, really sharp at the same time. So don't even attempt to do it at the same time. I just push downward just to get it straightened out. There's still going to be a little bit of a dip right here. See, because there was a nasty spot there. I managed to get that step fracture out earlier. I'm not going to push my luck because this is the quartzite area. If I try to do any other damage control in there, I run the risk of making it look worse. Yeah. Much worse. But I can get rid of the little mishaps. All right. Come on. That's a dull spot. Come on. It's a dull spot on a hard area. Come on, come on. It doesn't even grip. One thing about steel, it is more slippery than copper. Copper will grab the edge better. So there's that. I have copper to make copper tools with. I just don't do it because I know the level of maintenance that is required for that, and I'm not too keen on that. Not looking forward to a lot of maintenance on the tool, so I don't make them. Yeah, I got lucky down here too. So there's a lot of luck on this piece because there was a lot of flaking. Yeah, I got lucky down here when I thinned this down because it was a nasty spot right here. I got really lucky that these flakes were able to clear that out. All right. Come on. I don't have much platform or pressure area on here because I have to just hit the little bitty dull spots. That's why I got to be careful where I push. If I push on a sharp edge spot or whatever, it crushes and leaves it even duller. Yeah. I'm usually not too worried about aesthetics down near the base, but it's got to look like it has some symmetry and all that good stuff. All right. Yeah, the heat is terrible. It's over 100 degrees in the shop. I know it is. I can tell because it starts to get painful. The heat actually starts to get painful. Alright, so it's only a 20-minute video, or 23 minutes. But yeah, I just wanted to get the final edge work to get it really, really sharp. At this stage, I would just regrind the whole thing quite a bit. And then shoot very careful flakes down both sides after grinding, and that'll get it even thinner than this. But I'll lose a little bit of width, about I don't know, at least a 32nd of an inch off of each side, which reduces the whole width by a 1/16 of an inch minimum. Sometimes I lose up to an 1/8 of an inch every time I do a pass. Okay, I mean a pass is chipping on both sides. Oh, I might lose a 1/16 chipping both sides, a 32nd of an inch that way and a 32nd of an inch that way. So it would reduce the whole width by 1/8 of an inch. That's substantial when you get a piece like this. That's not that wide to begin with. Okay. What is it? Final answer. Yeah, 9 7/8. Come on. Where are you? Yeah, and then by 2.5, almost 2.5. Yeah, and then let's do the millimeters. That's 65, yeah. And the thickest part is 15. Still about 15. So that's between 4 to 1 and 5 to 1. It's a little bit better than 4 to 1. And I did manage to take down. Remember how it was lumpy? If you look at the last video, it was lumpy in here. I managed to take some flakes out across the lumps. It's a nice fighting knife. It can be a spearhead too, but if I were to use this out in the field back in the day, I would use it as a fighting knife. Just wrap this, or you can wrap it either way. You can wrap it down here and fight with this end, or wrap it down here and fight with this end. I would say that's a fighting knife. The Solutreans, this is the business end, the fatter end. The Native Americans, usually the thinner end is the business end. Just FYI. You know, the bell beakers are also, the bell beaker points, the business end is this wider end up here. Okay. So yeah, these are the big flakes I removed off camera before I turned it on. Yeah, it helped quite a bit. Where did this one come off? Somewhere. All I know is it was like, yes, finally. Actually, I should know where the bulb of percussion was. Thinking it's that way. Anyway. There it is. I like it. I like the colors and stuff. Very much. Yeah. Yep, I like it. All right. So, let's see. Do I get a good... Let's see. I'm going to get a good thumbnail. Let's see. Dum-dum-dum-dum. Okay, there you go.